All right, we're tad early. What's up? I rushed in. Busy day. All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Jay with Guilty of Crime, and we're back. All right, guys, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Get a membership if you can. All right. So, what I'm going to do quickly here, this is episode number 3. Jacqueline Torres, aka Mimi. Her mother tried to cover up her death in a video call with DCF by using another child. Who was that little girl? Who was that child that she used in the video with DCF, a video call to check in if she was going to school, if she was okay, etc. All right. So I'm going to start with a recap. 10-minute recap is going to give you everything you need to know. And then I'm going to come back on and we're going to go over the video call. We're going to go over all the details that we need to know. Well, you guys will know by the time I come back on. All right, who's arrested for what abuse was documented, charges that are made, and cover-ups happening behind the scenes. All right, now listen, the mom went so far as to attempt to cover up this by also going on a podcast and talking about her missing daughter. She was going to go on a podcast, and she covered up her death by using another child in the video call. So before we get into it, let's recap. Take a look here real quick. We are the voice for Jacqueline Mimi Torres. All right, say a prayer. You guys hit that like button. Don't forget to hype it at the end. Also, I posted the goal for today. If you guys want to get a membership, gift a membership, super chat, super sticker, all that. Let's go. Full recap, episode 3 of Jacqueline Torres. All right. You guys will probably remember this once I give you everything you need to know. All right. So here we go. Let's do a recap. Here we go, guys. This continuing coverage of the big M word of 12-year-old girl from New Britain, Connecticut, Jacqueline Mimi Torres. All right. If you never heard of this or don't remember, here we go.
Belonged to a girl and were uncovered in a large container in the backyard of an abandoned property.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that this would happen like here in New Britain.
A grandmother and her 2 grandsons stopped by to pray for a girl after police say her remains were discovered at this abandoned property in New Britain.
To see someone that young lose their life and wasn't able to have a life and, to share joy and everything.
All day, people offered condolences and left behind balloons, candles, and flowers at a growing memorial on Clark Street. Today, police confirmed the human remains found in a large container in the backyard here on Wednesday were those of an adolescent girl. In a statement, they wrote in part, "Our police department has been working around the clock to piece together the information that has come forward to determine a timeline and an exact location of events leading up to our discovery earlier in the week. Investigators have not yet publicly identified the girl or her age and say more work is needed by the medical examiner's office. But they realize the community has so many questions surrounding the girl's death."
It's overwhelming, very overwhelming. It's a little kid. It's crazy, just crazy.
Our goal from the start of this was to bring justice for whoever murdered Jacqueline.
Today, investigators announced arrests in connection with the killing of 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres-Garcia. Officers say her decomposed remains were found in a plastic storage bin on an abandoned property on Clark Street in New Britain last week.
I want to thank the men and women that are standing behind me who have been working around the clock to get us to this point.
Now, officers say they have arrested the girl's mother, Carla Garcia, and charged her with murder. Also charged with murder is the mother's boyfriend, Jonathan Anita. Police are still looking for him. The mother's sister, Jacqueline Garcia, was also arrested on a child cruelty charge. Investigators revealed the girl, known to so many as Mimi, likely died about a year ago in the fall of 2024 while the family lived in Farmington.
Had there been any reports that she'd been missing? Had anybody raised concerns, either from school districts or anybody, about where she had been for months?
No.
Officers say it appears Jacqueline had been physically abused for a while and malnourished. They think her body was kept in the family's basement and then later moved when the family left Farmington in March this year.
This case is a deeply heartbreaking and disturbing case. No child should ever have to endure such suffering.
Get out of here. Get out of the world.
Today, emotions running high in a courtroom in Torrington as 3 people appeared on charges following.
All right. Is everybody with me? We're ready. What's up? If you came in, I assure you you're not late. We're doing a complete recap of Jacqueline Mimi Torres and what happened now. This is episode 3. Okay, episode 3 of 3. There may be others, but Rebecca says, I haven't watched a single live show since Jay said Lori Vallow was innocent. I never said Lori Vallow was innocent, Rebecca. What? What? Welcome, Rebecca. Good to see you. Let's finish the recap. Who said Lori Vallow was innocent? We're going to have to talk about that because that didn't happen in my channel. All right. Oh, and my phone decided to pick up. All right. Back to the recap, guys. Let's go. This case is horrible, but we need to cover it. Episode 3 of Mimi Torres. All right. These 3 monsters are now charged in the death and conspiracy of little Mimi.
The death of 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres-Garcia. A relative telling us, quote, on behalf of the family, let them all rot. Jacqueline's mother, Carla Garcia, faces various charges, including murder.
Given the facts and circumstances of the case, the nature of the charges, city's asking that bond remain asset at $5 million.
Also facing a murder count is mother's boyfriend, Jonathan Anita.
She has a warrant outstanding out of New Britain Police Department.
The girl's aunt, Jacqueline Garcia, is charged with child cruelty. Today, New Britain schools confirmed the girl, known as Mimi, was enrolled there from kindergarten through 5th grade. But the district says in August last year, when Jacqueline was supposed to start 6th grade, the mother withdrew her, saying she was now living in Farmington, and filed a form to homeschool. Investigators say Jacqueline likely died last fall. Her body was kept in the family's basement and then moved earlier this year.
Do many of you guys remember this case? A lot of you guys have been with me for the last 2 weeks. All right. So I'm giving those that don't remember this case or are very confused by this case a complete recap. All right. This all happened, and then we're going to get to mom's cover up and why Jacqueline Torres was dead for over a year without anyone knowing. That's the topic of today. Who posed as the dead girl? All right. I posed that question. Come on in, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can, and share with your community.
After finding her remains in a storage bin last week in New Britain, police say evidence appears to show she was malnourished and physically abused. Her grandfather spoke to us soon after arrests were announced.
We want her like a daughter, so that's why right now we got the heart broke,
It was just 8 months ago. We had another situation involving a Waterbury child who was homeschooled, who then dropped off the radar screen, only to be discovered allegedly locked up in a house for years. The New Britain School District was told Jacqueline Torres Garcia would be homeschooled as well, leading to questions if this needs to be tracked better. The Connecticut Association of Superintendents of Public Schools, while complimenting parents who homeschool, also believes the laws need modifications, including annual check-ins by parents of homeschool children.
It is our responsibility, according to the state constitution, that says we must educate every child. They have a
And now they're working on Mimi's Law, just so you know. And I hope you guys don't feel the same way, that someone just rolled in and said my live streams are 2 to 3 hours longer than they need to be. If y'all think my streams are 2 to 3 hours longer than they need to be, put a 1 in chat. If you think they're right on time, put a 2. Now, I could run an episode in 45 minutes without any interaction with the audience, but you guys let me know. 1, if you like the length of my streams. 2, if you think that they're 2 hours too long. Oh, you guys think they're too long? I think you guys put the
right to homeschool if they so choose. But I think we have a responsibility to ensure that every child is accounted for.
The Connecticut Homeschool Network said in June its members oppose requirements like that.
We don't utilize the public school system. Our system historically works. Homeschooling just works across the board. We don't need that oversight from a system that we're not part of.
The Connecticut Homeschool Network added it considers this an overreach, noting the failures have more to do with the Department of Children and Families not keeping tabs on its cases. Governor Lamont indicated he'd support more oversight.
Sometimes we, the state or DCF or the locals, lose contact with kids if they're not going to school every day. So we're trying to find better ways to just keep a track on those kids and make sure.
If you think my streams are too long and I shouldn't stream at all, Rebecca, why are you in my chat? Bye, Rebecca. See you never. Let's continue. Thank you, guys. I don't know why people come in my chat to tell me that my streams are too long. All right. I take into consideration. All right. So let's keep going. And those that got it wrong, it's all good. Yeah. Bye, Felicia. Bye. I get it, guys. I know. Let's finish the recap. So funny.
Sure. Tragedies like this can be avoided.
pass by.
Lots of concerns and questions as people stop by the growing memorial for 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres-Garcia. Following the discovery of her remains, emotions seem to be rising from here at the site to court in Torrington yesterday.
Get out of here. Get out of the
That's where 3 people charged in the case appeared: the girl's mother, the mother's boyfriend, and the girl's aunt, Jacqueline Garcia.
In terms of cases, she is currently on parole.
Garcia is facing charges, including child cruelty. It's not clear.
Now, remember, we're recapping the case so that we can move forward in what's happening now. What originally happened is Jacqueline, what they call Mimi Torres, a 12-year-old girl, was found dead inside a plastic container behind an abandoned home in New Britain, Connecticut in October 2025, this month. Police believe she died in September of 2024, and her body was concealed for over a year. All right. And that's what we're talking about today to get to all the other details of what's happening today. So thank you guys for coming in. If I said something backwards, I still teasing you. Those of you that are here every single day and you support the channel, thank you so much. All right. And those of you that don't like it, bye. Bye, Felicia. Bye.
Clear what led to her arrest, since the warrant is sealed for 2 weeks.
Judge, not a lot of money for gone.
Now we are learning more about the aunt's previous arrest in 2023. According to the arrest warrant, Garcia brought her then 11-month-old daughter to Connecticut Children's after reporting an issue with her leg. Officers report that a DCF worker told them the child was hurt and had multiple bruises and fractures on various body parts and at different stages of healing. Initially, detectives said Garcia reported the child had previously fallen, but investigators say there was no record of a pediatrician being contacted like Garcia claimed. In the warrant, detectives say Garcia told them she was also suffering from postpartum depression. Jacqueline commented that taking care of her 2 children is hard because victim's father is always working.
Now, she was talking about the boyfriend, not the father. You guys are going to see how the father came in and wanted to get his little girl. All right. There's 2 little girls, as a matter of fact. She has a sister. So let's keep going and see how these evil people covered this up and had this little girl in their basement for probably over a year, guys. Literally.
I would have never thought from her personality that she was even capable of doing something so horrific.
Kimberly White says she lives a floor below Carla Garcia, the mother of 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres Garcia. White says she met Garcia when she moved into the building in April. Soon after, their kids became playmates.
Her daughter, that is still currently alive, and my son were really good friends, like bread and butter. She was always trying to come over here. He was always trying to go upstairs.
She says she was friendly with Garcia, but the two didn't talk much. When human remains of a girl were discovered on Clark Street in New Britain last week, White says she heard Garcia could be involved. The two were talking about doing an episode on White's podcast when Garcia sent her a text message that NBC Connecticut obtained a copy of. It read in part, quote, "I didn't put my daughter in that container and throw her like she's a piece of trash. I am grieving." We then verified.
And this is what we're leading up to today's episode. Jacqueline Torres' mom tried to cover up her death in a video call with DCF by using another child in place of her daughter. Now, her daughter never made it out of that house. And the reason why is because they starved her, they beat her, they zip-tied her, and all 3 of them did all the exact same things to little Jacqueline Mimi Torres. We didn't know any of that in the previous 2 episodes because we hadn't gotten the warrants and the documentation just yet. And that's why we're recapping and then moving forward today. So thank you guys for being here again. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can.
Find Garcia's phone number with a family member.
She didn't seem like a monster. She seemed like a high-spirited young lady. I'm 45. She's way younger than me. So I felt like the need mom mode kicked in, like, let me help you.
White says she saw Garcia on Sunday, a few hours before she was arrested. Garcia was charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder in the death of her 12-year-old daughter. Her boyfriend and sister were also charged in the case.
It's just disturbing. It's heartbreaking. So many words to describe what happened.
Family court documents indicate Jacqueline Mimi Garcia lived with her paternal grandmother, Patricia Delgado, from birth until she was 7 years old. At one point, Delgado even sued Mimi's mother, Carla Garcia, for child support. Carla Garcia, now a co-defendant in Mimi's murder, was awarded custody in 2022.
But DCF took.
That's grandma. Again, if you guys have been here since last week, over and over and over, right? You guys been here. You guys know that's what we led up to. We found the container in the backyard. As this unraveled, 2 people were arrested. Third one was on the run. We thought he took his own life. Do you guys remember now? In fact, he didn't take his own life, and he's now in jail. All right. So thank you so much, Kristen Perry. Your presentations aren't long enough. Keep up the stellar work. Faithful follower from Vermont. And thank you so much for supporting the channel. We're almost caught up, y'all.
Her away from me. I felt they forced me to hand over the girl, and I went to court, and they told me that the grandmother no longer had any rights to take or even see the child.
The DCF, or Department of Children and Families, has not commented on what Delgado, the paternal grandmother, said. But the agency has said it has been involved with Mimi's family in the past, and it's reviewing its records. Court records also show the girl's father, Victor Torres, took Garcia to court over joint custody in 2023. He wrote, "I want to see my children weekend like we agreed when given joint custody, or any day for that matter." Mimi's mother, Carla Garcia, sought sole custody of her in April 2024. Custody was granted to her months later, and soon after that, police believe Mimi was dead. The paternal grandparents told us Carla Garcia would not let them see or talk to the child.
Now, remember, the reason that they did that was because they didn't want people to know that she was no longer alive. And listen, DCF does need to be held accountable, but listen up, man. This woman, this monster, her mother did do a DCF video call you're going to hear about next, and she used a child to be in place of her. So they thought Mimi was alive the whole time. She was using excuses and sending pictures to people where she wasn't even alive, allegedly. All right. So this little girl was dead for over a year. And the mom not only posed other children as her daughter, but she also moved different residencies and put her remains in their basement. And they didn't toss them until recently this month. All right. So they were ducking and dodging, and DCF knows, and homeschool knows that they need Mimi's law in place. Unfortunately, a little bit too late. All right. So let's get to it now. Today, we're talking about Jacqueline Torres. Mother Carla tried to cover up her death in a video call with DCF. Who was the girl that she put in the video? All right. Are we all up to speed now? Thank you guys for being here. Again, thank you for the support. Kristen, I know you've been a member longer than 6 months, but thank you. Bree, thank you so much for the 5 Guilty of Crime memberships. Juanita Jones, thank you for becoming a member. And Kristen, thank you so much for the super chat. All right, guys, now that we're up to speed, let's get into it. I'm gonna show you a clip of the calls, etc. All right. Emily Jane, member for 10 months. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you. All right. Mom told DCF that the girl in the video was Mimi after police believe she was already dead. All right. And then we're going to get into all the nitty gritty details. Again, thank you guys for being here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. This story is so sad, and it just keeps unfolding, guys. Every day, new information comes out.
Just a moment. But first, the Department of Children and Families is now explaining its involvement with a 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres.
All right. So now, guys, we're up to speed, and it's DCF's job at this point to explain to us why Jacqueline Torres, what happened to her, why she was missing, and nobody was held accountable. All right, so that's what we're talking about. Millie, good to see you, my friend. I'm glad you got a membership. Mama Sage, how you doing? All right, now let's go. Mom's ducking and dodging and trying to avoid accountability for her daughter and where she is at this point.
Garcia, whose remains were found in New Britain.
DCF has faced intense questioning since it was revealed the department had been involved with the family. NBC Connecticut's Matt Austin is joining us now in studio to break down this timeline that they're providing.
Yeah, so Keisha and Michael, a lot to walk through here. The Department of Children and Families thought its last time seeing Jacqueline Torres-Garcia was during a video call earlier this year.
And that's why we don't know if September 2024 was when her little life was taken, guys. So this is not, I mean, this is just this is a tragic story that now DCF has to answer for and has to account of what happened and why she slipped through the cracks. I mean, we have lots of neighbors also talking now about seeing the boyfriend, Jonathan, moving the body in the tote. All right. So they saw it and they just didn't know. They didn't realize that her body was being put in that backyard behind the abandoned house right in front of them.
But police believe that was actually months after her death. And now there are questions about the identity of the girl who apparently posed as Jacqueline. Now, going back, the department says they were first involved with the family in January 2013 when Jacqueline was born and her mother, Carla Garcia, was in a detention center. Jacqueline was placed with her father's family, and that's where she remained until 2022. Family court documents indicate the girl, known as Mimi, lived with her grandmother, Patricia Delgado.
Only God is helping me. God is helping me to pass this process.
Now, we watched the full interview here, guys. So what we're doing now is getting into the court documents, the warrants that were put out, and the documentation from DCF, the Mimi law that they're trying to do. And yeah, I don't know what's wrong with these people. I don't know why this keeps happening, guys. I really don't. All right. Grandparents were trying to help her, trying to get contact with her. Dad was trying to, and everybody failed because why? They were collecting child support? I don't get it.
I've been with her forever and I'm always going to be here.
Now, in May of 2022, DCF says a superior court returned guardianship of Jacqueline back to her mother and father, including with support from DCF, the prior relatives, and the child's attorney. They also interacted with Jacqueline in September that year during an investigation involving her younger siblings. The department says the kids were enrolled in school and seen in the community during that time. DCF determined the children were safe. That case was later.
Do you see what happened here? I mean, I don't know who failed them. I don't know who failed her. I should say them because the other child was in her custody as well. Who failed who and what? I mean, what could they have done when they awarded custody correctly? They checked on them. They went back and forth. They replaced them. What happened here?
Closed. In May of 2024, DCF says Jacqueline attended a medical appointment, and between November of 2022 and the fall of 2024, there had been no reports of child abuse or neglect with the family. Jacqueline's mother filed and was granted sole custody by the family court in June 2024, which DCF says it was not involved with. Police say the girl likely died in the fall of that year. Then months later, in January of 2025, DCF was investigating allegations concerning Jacqueline's younger sibling. In a statement, DCF wrote in part, Ms. Garcia stated at the time of our investigation that Jacqueline was being homeschooled and staying temporarily out of.
Now, do you see what happened here and what fell through the cracks, guys? What's up, Cal? Good to see you. Big heart, much love. This is what we're talking about here. This lady, this demon woman, this momster took this little girl's life, and for what? The father wanted her, the grandma had her. Why did she do that? And why and how did she avoid them for so long? All right. So now we're getting up to everything current. Hopefully you guys understand the case. If you don't, go back, watch the recap. Foxy Amazon, thank you so much. If you guys got a membership and it was from Foxy, please do thank her. All right.
State with a relative. In response, DCF conducted a video call with a person who mother claimed to be Jacqueline. But again, police believe Jacqueline had been dead by then, so it's unclear who they actually spoke with. DCF says that information has been turned over to law enforcement and is still actively reviewing the situation.
Now, listen, that's crazy. I wonder if they can add additional charges, not only for that, but what about the fraud? What about the welfare they were collecting? What about the food stamps they were collecting? What about the Section 8 housing that they were collecting? All three of those evil monsters that were arrested are those people that are being held accountable. And for what? What are the charges? We'll get into all that, of course.
And lawmakers have concerns.
And I have a lot of questions about this, and I want to see my eyes on those reports, not a report about the report.
Cheers,
And
by
today,
the way.
state Democratic lawmakers have not gotten back to us, but previously the chairs of the Children's Committee had said DCF had, quote, failed the girl. We're told Jacqueline's siblings are now in state custody. And New Britain Schools just provided these documents Jacqueline's mom filed in August 2024 to pull her daughter out of school and the plan to homeschool her. So lots of questions still, of course, about everything. Mike and Keisha.
Investigation.
All right, we're going to continue on this. We're up to speed now. I know this case is kind of all over the place, but well, that's why we have 3 episodes. That may be 3 episodes too long. I can't even say it, just joking around. All right, Connecticut child's death that went unnoticed for a year renews debate on homeschooling regulations in Connecticut. So now we're going to read about that. And guys, I got to tell you, huge trigger warning today. The things that we're going to talk about in this episode are very triggering, whether you've been abused or not, whether you have the stomach for it or are desensitized to it. Guys, I haven't heard such things in quite some time. All right. They were making this little girl use pee pads in order to use the bathroom. All right. That's bad. Pee pads, restraints, zip ties, and starvation. When they found her body in that tub in the back of the abandoned house, she had already been dead, speculated for a year, and starved 2 weeks prior. All right. So trigger warning. Let's get into this. What up to date now and what's happening. This came out yesterday, and all right. Investigators are still trying to determine precisely when Jacqueline Mimi Torres was killed. Police say the 11-year-old, they're questioning if she made it to 12. So we're based on 11 and 12 years old. It changes from article to article. Was found in a bin behind an abandoned house in New Britain, Connecticut. All right. Jacqueline's mom, Carla, and her boyfriend, Jonathan, have been charged with capital M. Also, her sister, Jacqueline Garcia, faces charges that include cruelty to a child under 19, and you'll find out why. All right, you're going to find out that they all knew about this, and they all planned this. They all plotted it. They all smelled the decomposing body, and they all did what they were going to do. All right, good to see you, Mr. Bot. Love your little pumpkin emojis. Mo says the system will continue to fail unless a policy is put into place that can determine if the guardian is requesting custody solely for money. That's a good stipulation to put in there, Mo. And thank you for the $5 super chat. Yeah, I think we need a lot of reform. Okay, the death of an 11-year-old girl remains were found this month, about a year after police believe she was killed. Has renewed a debate over Connecticut homeschooling. All right. So Jacqueline, let's call her Mimi. Her remains were found abandoned in Connecticut on October 8th. All right. October 8th, 2025, after police say her family had hid her decomposing body for about a year. Now, the girl's death went unnoticed because she was no longer enrolled in school, and the Department of Children and Families, DCF, said her mother had another child pose as her during a virtual visit months after she's believed to have died. All right. The girl's mother, Carla, and boyfriend have each been charged. We saw that with capital M and conspiracy, intentional cruelty, and you're going to find out why right now. All right. So they're all charged and they're all in on it, according to law enforcement. Now, the Center for Children's Advocacy strongly supports parents' constitutionally protected right to direct the education of their child, including the right to provide a home-based education, said Sarah Egan, the agency's executive director. In Connecticut, despite our compulsory education and attendance laws, school districts do not engage in any inquiry or follow-up on the children that are permanently removed from school for the stated purpose of homeschooling. Guys, this is a huge flaw. Most states have a follow-up record keeping or other requirements related to withdrawn and homeschooled children. Now, CCA strongly recommends that lawmakers urgently address this public policy matter as it directly impacts the safety and well-being of children. Are you guys seeing this flaw? Do you see the flaw? So you can pull your child out of school and just disappear and still be in the same district, still collect welfare, still collect food stamps, still get Section 8, and yet they don't check up on your child. Why is that? Why would they cut you a check and give you all this money and these tax breaks or whatever if they don't know if your child's alive? This keeps happening over and over. Janet Rawlings, thank you so much for the $1.99 super sticker. Thank you for supporting the channel. Homeschooling again. Yeah, this is another one. This is a big one. Now, the online petition started by Bridget, resident of Los Fidel, is lobbying for creation of Mimi's Law, guys, to ensure that no child disappears unnoticed again. Now, as of Monday morning, which was yesterday, the petition on change.org has gathered more than 13,000 signatures, and even more than that. I just read earlier that it was 14,000 and above. However, the leader of homeschooling advocacy organization said in a news release that the offense date of June 21st, 2024, listed in Connecticut court records for Carla Garcia, indicates that the child, Mimi, was killed more than a month before her mother withdrew her from public school. All right. Attorney Deb Stevenson, founder of National Home Education Legal Defense, said that means complaints about homeschooling and child being out of public eye when she was allegedly abused and killed are baseless. All right. Farmington Police, Connecticut, say the June offense dates listed for Carla and her two co-defendants reflect only the start of a time range for the crimes because investigators are still trying to determine precisely when her life was taken. Now, arrest warrants in the case have been sealed until next week. So there's going to be a lot more. Search warrants that were obtained by police believe the child's alleged abuse was witnessed by Jacqueline Garcia between June and August 2024 when she was living with the family for periods of time. And she condoned it. She helped. She kept her in zip ties. Mom, hello. Hi, Mom, love you. They kept their daughter in zip ties and they gave her pee pads to use the bathroom, guys, while they're collecting money. Now, yeah, children don't vote or pay taxes, but is that why they're not keeping track of them? I mean, come on, guys. This is a huge failure. All right, I got the wrong article. Okay, let's finish this article and then we can get into everything else, right? All right, now listen, guys, trigger warning again. The aunt supposedly witnesses, she was living with them. Now, Carla Garcia told her sister that little Jacqueline died on September 19th, 2024. I'm going to put that down in chat so you guys can see when police are saying that her life was gone. We're in October of 2025. They speculate, and Carla told her sister that she actually lost her life or they took her life September 19, 2024, weeks after she filed to have the child homeschooled, according to the documents. Now, police say that she suffered prolonged physical abuse, guys, and malnourishment. All right. In the search warrants, police said Carla, her mom, stopped feeding the child in the weeks before she died, and they restrained her with zip ties. Now, the offense date of Jacqueline Garcia's charges, which is the aunt, are listed in court records as June 1st, 2024. The offense dates for all charges against Carla Garcia and Nanita Jonathan are listed as June 21st, 2024. Guys, that was way last year. Now, Jacqueline did attend a New Britain, Connecticut school from kindergarten through 5th grade, according to the superintendent of the school. On August 26, 2024, which would have been Jacqueline's first day of 6th grade, guys. First day. All right. Carla Garcia filed a notification of withdrawal on her first day of school, stating that she had a new address and would be in Farmington. All right. On that day, Garcia filed a notice of intent and an instruction of student at home, but they believe she had already been dead for quite some time. All right. The Stevenson said the outcry about homeschooling after crimes against children, including a Waterbury man, says he was held captive in his home since he was removed from a school as a child. He is nothing new and is an excuse to force more regulation of home education. Yeah, that's not good because now people are going to say that they're forcing this on people. All right. People, why are there so many trolls in here, guys? What's up with that today? We don't like when we talk about bullies. Is that what happened? Yes, they starved her and they kept her in the basement for quite some time. All right. So mods, be on alert today. We only have 158 people in chat, guys. We see you, and you're gonna have to make more accounts for that. All right. Also, we're talking about a child that was tortured and abused, and her body was in a basement for over a year. So I hope I don't find out who's in here trolling on a true crime video. All right, you guys go do that on your Krama channel, but stay off mine. All right. All right. So another excuse is what people are saying. It's kind of a split. All right. People, although there are rules around withdrawing, Connecticut doesn't legally require any notification from parents before homeschooling. All right. All right, let's keep going. We've got a lot to get into, and there's a lot of stuff that's hard to digest on what's happening today. All right. So, oh boy. All right. So the DCF call we got. Let's just look at. Actually, hold on. Let's talk about the search. Hold on. That was really loud. All right. All right. Search warrants, alleged confessions by the people that are arrested. Let's get into that. Hold on one second. All right. Hello, everybody. Yeah. Hi, Mom. Yeah, you need to leave the trolls. Find something you like instead of making trouble. And I quote from my mom. Yeah, they're just going to come in here. They just, they can't help themselves. All right. So these search warrants detailed their alleged confessions by the aunt and the mom. So trigger warning, guys. This really is, the details are bad. All right. Yeah, trolls could smash that like button too. Right? Oh my God, this is horrible. Where do we live in the world? Well, you could see where we live in the world today. Just go around on social media and take a look. People like that are allowed to have children, and they're allowed to have children again and again. Why did they keep her cold for no one to sneak? No. What? Hey, good to see you. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, they're trying to make me argue with them, and I'm not. Thank you, Shauna. I appreciate that. Ignore. We are not a Krama channel. We are true crime, and that's where we're gonna stay. All right, Nettie, good to see you. Come on in, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can, and if you don't like my content, just leave. Nobody will miss you. I assure you.
Disturbing new details now about the weeks prior to the death of a young girl in New Britain, and we do want to warn you this information is very difficult to hear.
Yeah, search and seizure warrants obtained by News 8 reveal alleged confessions of abuse from her mother and her aunt.
News 8's Brittany Taylor at the New Britain Police Department this morning after going through these documents. Brittany, good morning. What can you tell us?
These people.
Yeah, Laura, Keith, I can't stress enough how difficult these details are to stomach. We are learning from these search and seizure warrants that this little girl was treated like less than an animal. She was allegedly starved for weeks on end, abused, restrained, and just treated terribly by her own family. I want to pull up this excerpt from the document that apparently said.
All right, guys, again, trigger warning. After this, there's a brand new episode that came out. Mom tried to cover up dead daughter killing in video call. All right, so we're going to go over that. We're going to have some discussions on this case. This is episode 3 of 3. All right, so I will post later. I will put all 3 episodes into a community post. That way, if you guys want to watch them, you guys can play them and do dishes or chores or sleep. Or you can just put them on and hate watch and cuss at me and call me names while you watch me on your TV. Whatever floats your boat, y'all. Anna Clark, hey Jay, mods in chat, blessings from Ireland. Kai, hey, new. This is such a sad case, but it's so good to see you here. So good to have you guys here. There's a lot of new subscribers and we appreciate you. Yes, this mom had another daughter from the same father in that household. So sultry, it makes me think that they used the daughter for that. All right. And we're going to have some good discussions here. Again, this is hard to listen to. So if you need to go check your mental health, especially for the mental health trolls that are in here saying creating entire accounts to troll. Oh my goodness, entire accounts. You spend your life making accounts to get blocked. If that's the case, go find something else to do and go make some more accounts, all right? This is awful. Let's go.
As that her mother, Carla Garcia, and her mother's boyfriend, Jonathan Nanita, stopped feeding this little girl for 2 weeks before she passed away. And then once the little girl died, the warrants say that the mother told police the odor from Jacqueline's decomposing body was so strong that the family left their Farmington apartment to stay with friends. And that's when the boyfriend, Nanita, was believed to have put Torres-Garcia's body in a tote, put it in the back of his Acura, and dropped it off in front of.
You hear what's happening, and there's one of the neighbors that's now coming forward that says she saw that happening. You guys, she literally saw that happening, and she talked to police. She saw him coming and repositioning it. And when I say he, I'm talking about the monster boyfriend. All right, I mean, this is just, I don't know how much worse that you can get. All right, I really don't. So let's keep going. And again, we're talking about a little girl that was tortured to death in this episode. All right. So again, buckle up, hang in here. TP, I'm glad you like my background. That is in fact a gel, and I do in fact look like a corrections officer today. Like I'm out there with my baton smacking the inmates around. All right. Why do I? And me too, Kai, me too. That's exactly what I said. I feel like the boyfriend was essaying her and the mom was jealous and wanted to get rid of her. All right, let's keep going. FYI, haters, stop watching. Click on the arrow on the right. There you go. Let's get back into this. All right, this is her piece of trash mom that not only let this happen, but encouraged it.
The abandoned home where police then discovered the little girl's remains. Another detail revealed in these documents, the mother told police that before she was arrested, she was planning to go on a podcast and talk publicly about what happened. She even had notes on her cell phone.
Can you imagine that, guys? Can you imagine that she was going to cause a whole other not a what is that? It was going to be another like Sebastian Rogers or another case where a mom calls in and says her daughter's missing and creates this whole hoax. That's what I was looking for. All right. I look like a warden. Well, I'm a warden today, baby. All right. I need my baton. But listen, she was planning and already had notes. All right. She already had notes on what she was going to say on the podcast. All right. So she literally was going to cause a complete other diversion, which in fact would have been a hoax. All right. Mo says, Jay, there's an interview with the doctor who was on Nancy Grace describing what happens when someone is starved to death. It's horrible. Mo, my heart goes out to this little girl. They didn't just starve her to death. They tortured her. All right. So let's keep going. What's up, Stacy Smith? Good to see you. Vanessa, my girl. All right.
Coming up at 5:30, these alleged acts of evil and cruelty, unfortunately, we're learning do not end with the mother and the boyfriend. Coming up, we are going to hear about the aunt's role in all of this, including how she knew allegedly that the little girl was going to die, but never went for help. Again, that'll be coming up in the next half hour. Live at the New Britain Police Department this morning, Brittany Taylor, News 8.
All right. This is just there's one other thing I wanted to show you before we get into like all of the discussions in the episodes. There was another lady that talked about specifically seeing the body being moved. All right, let's check this out real quick. I got another one too that describes what she went through, so you guys can understand the starvation, the tying up. And Nina Drew, welcome. Thank you for the $1.99 super sticker. I will be watching Turtle Island and supporting my girl PJ Vision and Dolly tonight, just to watch and see what happens. So TP says I live 30 minutes from there. I know that town. Damn. We don't know what reason why, but we just got started, you guys. We literally just got started, and this is not good. All right, let's take this down, and then I got one more thing to share with you about the warrant and her possibly being dead September 2024.
Zip ties. Now at 6, search warrants in the Jacqueline Torres-Garcia murder investigation detail just some of that abuse that 11-year-old little girl went through.
Yeah, it is really horrifying. Your chief investigative reporter, Sam Smink, requested these warrants earlier today. She is live in studio with what they reveal. Sam, Aaron, Steph.
And look at her face. I mean, all of them are like, just watch.
The information contained in the search warrants is graphic and tragic. According to her own mother, Jacqueline was starved for 2 weeks prior to her death in September 2024.
All right, and now we're going to see the rest of her nasty momster here. Okay, last time we saw it, she was cussing a lot. I hope you guys are starting to recall this case now. Again, I'll put all 3 episodes on a community post. Let's see how many inmates will receive them in jail, right? All right. Hey, Jay, I'm still getting... right? All right, you say, okay, I'm in the woods with what has come to light. Mimi was gone for more than a year, and we're going to find out where they had her. We're unraveling these documents right now, so perfect timing, all right? Saucy Skins, thank you. TP, send me an email if you want to chat, all right? The mom ain't missing no meals, but she sure starved her daughter, and I bet you she was just seething and jealous of that beautiful little angel. All right, let's watch and listen to what they did in the weeks before her life was taken by them.
Carla, where's the girls? On the night police found the remains of Jacqueline Torres-Garcia, Channel 3 shot video of her mother, Carla Garcia, being taken into police custody. Police say Garcia told them that night she stopped feeding Jacqueline 2 weeks prior to her death. She also admitted to previously restraining Jacqueline in zip ties as punishment for when she was acting bad. Garcia told police her sister, Jacqueline Garcia,
do you guys really think she was acting bad, my friends? Do you think she was acting bad, or do you think she was asking for food? Do you think that she wanted to use a regular bathroom and not a pee pad or a bucket? Do you think that any of those things are justified to do that? Even to a dog, pee pad and restrained in zip ties is not. Okay. And yes, they haven't documented, they haven't unsealed the documents just yet, Deb. So once the documents get unsealed, then we're going to find out about her and if she was in the freezer, if she was in a fridge, because I assure you, we're going to hear about the smell of death right now. All right. She was down there for a year, and they moved the body multiple times with them when they moved, and then again to reposition at that abandoned house. All right. And that's all going to come out. All the documents are coming out now. So that's why we keep covering this case, because it keeps going. She was allegedly 12 and some say she was 11. So we don't know, because it depends on how long her life was taken from her. Let's listen. We
It
still
even
got
sent her a photo of Jacqueline when she was lying on the floor on pee pads, restrained in zip ties.
Oh
Jacqueline
no.
Garcia, also charged in the case, admitted to taking the photo. Jacqueline Garcia told police she
Now, listen, guys, that's going to be in all the documents. So if we watch this trial and we start seeing the documents come out, there's documents of her being restrained with zip ties coming from one phone to another. And that's the other phone. The aunt knew all about it. All right. Damn, man. Say a prayer for little Jacqueline Mimi Torres, guys. Just real quick, please. Oh, God, this is. Okay.
lived with the family in their Farmington home between June and August 2024 and witnessed Jacqueline's abuse. She says Jacqueline attempted to run away from home twice, and both times she was found by a family member and punished by zip ties. The warrant says Jacqueline Garcia told police when she left the residence in mid-August she knew Jacqueline was going to die.
Now remember, they've got capital M charges, guys, the murder charges, but they also have conspiracy charges because law enforcement has the evidence that these three monsters were passing pictures around and they were all taking shifts on torturing this girl. When I say torturing, they were taking care of her. They were throwing food at her, throwing whatever. They were torturing her and not feeding her. All three of them were doing the same thing. All right, Mary Beth, good to see you, my friend.
Jacqueline Garcia went to prison in December 2024 for her own child abuse charges and came back to live with the family in August 2025 in New Britain. She told police she found Jacqueline's body, and Carla Garcia told her Jacqueline died September 19th, 2024. Carla Garcia went on to tell police that after Jacqueline died, her boyfriend Jonathan and Anita brought Jacqueline's body downstairs, but she wasn't sure what to do with it. She stated the odor from the decaying body was so strong, they had to leave their residence in Farmington.
Okay, do you hear that? I mean, they're telling you that, and I'm glad you brought that up, Nina. Maddie Soto wanted to run away. This little girl did run away. As I was digging through the documents and reading the articles, they actually said she did run away a time or two, and they didn't even ask questions. They just brought her back to that house. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. Nanita, that's Jonathan, brought her body downstairs, but oh, I'm sorry. Nanita is I get the names confused because they're all weird names. Nanita brought Jacqueline's body down the stairs, but wasn't sure what to do with it. That's the aunt. She stated the odor from the decaying body was so strong, they had to leave their residence in Farmington and stay with their friends in a hotel. So now I have serious questions about that. Where did they keep her? How did they have her so long down there without anybody else noticing? And they moved with that body before they actually dumped her, guys.
And stay with friends or at hotels.
Damn,
the warrant says when the couple moved back to New Britain in March 2025, they took the body with them.
Carla Garcia, Jonathan, Anita, and Jacqueline Garcia are all charged in Jacqueline's death. Carla Garcia claims most of the punishment was under Nanita's direction. According to the warrant, Garcia had plans to go on a podcast to talk about what happened to Jacqueline prior to her arrest on October 12th. Your chief investigative reporter, Sam Spink, Channel.
That's crazy, guys. Just days ago, you saw her get arrested, but days ago, she was writing what she needed. Nanita is Jonathan. Okay. All right. Just making sure because they, this case gets confusing and that's why I recapped it for you guys. I'm trying to add it, but it's not letting me. Those are the three. All right. There's Jonathan, which is the boyfriend. And then we got the middle one. That's the mom. Her name is Carla. Right. And then we've got Jacqueline is the aunt. Carla's the mom and Jonathan's the boyfriend. All right. From left to or right to left, however you want to call it. Yeah. Prayers for Jacqueline. This is in the same state we've been covering, my friend. This is in Connecticut. All right. They all got blood on their hands. And yeah, let's talk. Now we're going to talk about that because her mom tried to cover up by putting her daughter or putting another child on the video call. So that's what we're talking about today. Let's get into that. This is the last half of this episode. And guys, hopefully you guys don't think my episodes are too long. Let's go. Hit that like button and share, all right? Episode 3.
12-year-old girl disappeared and no one noticed for more than a year. Jacqueline Torres-Garcia's remains were discovered this month inside a plastic bin behind an abandoned home in New Britain, Connecticut. And police believe she has been dead since the fall of 2024. And now, newly unsealed warrants, they are revealing that her mother, Carla Garcia, admitted to starving her daughter in the weeks before she died, and even had another child impersonate Jacqueline during a DCF video call after she was.
So that's the major topic. We've got some experts on this that we're going to discuss with this. And again, I could have got the episode out. We're at 55 minutes. I can just cut this episode and send it out. I'm done. But I do these episodes so that I can have discussions with you. All right. Because I want to know what you guys are thinking. We want to know what people are thinking. We want to call for the family to get in touch with us. As a matter of fact, I have a cold case that's like polyclasp coming up either this week or next. And my, this is directly connected to my family. This little girl was stolen from her window and has still never been found. All right. So we got a lot that we do this for the people and the victims and the families in order to get their voices out there and have a platform. All right. Rosalie, Angel, almost done cooking, but I'm listening. Hi, Jay and crew. All right. Sherlock, what did the other kids have to see? Right. All right. Let's get into it, guys. And don't forget, after we're done, hype my video if you like it. And, share it. Thank you, Janet, if I didn't say that. And I hope I did say thank you to you, Nina. I never want to forget you guys and properly thank you.
Already gone. We are going to be breaking down the latest developments in this disturbing case with a family law attorney. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse White.
We don't need to see
Connecticut. And it has left people asking how every system meant to protect her seemingly failed. Her remains were found earlier this month in a plastic bin behind an abandoned home in New Britain. Police believe she possibly died nearly a year ago in the fall of 2024. Her mother, Carla Garcia, and Garcia's boyfriend, Jonathan Nanita, are now charged with her murder. Garcia's sister, Jacqueline, faces charges of child cruelty and unlawful restraint.
Now, listen, guys, we're talking about the death penalty, but I got to tell you, the reason that they're not going to get the death penalty, in my opinion, is because right now they're being charged with second degree. And the reason they're being charged with second degree is because all three of them are saying that they didn't intentionally mean to kill her. They're saying that her death resulted from the abuse and the starvation, but and this is not don't shoot the messenger. It's coming from all three of them, and unfortunately, they're getting a conspiracy charge for working together and conspiring to continue locking her up and abusing her. But they're only getting second degree, which would never carry a death penalty, even if there were death penalty in Connecticut. All right, so let's keep going. Much love. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for your support. The ones that do support, Indy Isham, much love to you. I'm just kicking them out, but I give fair warning. I give multiple chances, and I'm tired of it. I'm done.
For her alleged role in all of this. But what has newly come to light makes this case even more disturbing, because according to newly unsealed warrants, Garcia apparently admitted that she stopped feeding her daughter in the weeks before she died. Family court records show relatives had fought bitterly over custody of Jacqueline, and DCF now says that Garcia went so far as to have another girl seemingly pretend to be Jacqueline during a video call.
And that's creepy. When I first read that, I was like, wait, what? Did she use a picture of her where she wasn't alive? Like that happens in like Shanda Vander Ark or Ganning Stalk, where they take a picture of their child that's no longer alive and use that to pose as them being alive. That's why we're talking about this case today and all the new information that's coming out, because this case has just been rapidly unfolding. And again, we thought Jonathan, the monster in this, the girl's boyfriend, we thought that he took his own life on episode 1. We were looking around to see, did he take his life? No, he in fact didn't. All right. I know. Now I know what I was going to say. Here's what I was going to say. This little angel, Jacqueline, had at least 3 people fighting to keep her. 3 people wanted custody of her and wanted to give her a good life. And instead, her mom took her life and used it for whatever she could gain. So keep that in mind as we watch this. Rosie says, choo choo. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Vanessa starts the choo-choo train. All right. Thank you, guys.
Call with caseworkers after the child was apparently already dead. Now, we're going to get to all of that in a moment. The new warrants, the shocking admissions, what investigators now say really happened. But first, we got to break this down. This is Jacqueline Mimi Torres-Garcia.
So
Friends,
beautiful.
family, they called her Mimi. She attended kindergarten through 5th grade in the New Britain School District until August 26, 2024. That's when, instead of starting 6th grade, her mother, Carla Garcia, who we've been talking about, filed paperwork to withdraw her from school, telling the district that she planned to homeschool her daughter instead. Police now believe that around this time, Jacqueline was being abused and malnourished inside the family's Farmington apartment. Detectives say the abuse continued.
Now, listen, the grandmother was absolutely not involved in the abuse or the death. As a matter of fact, guys, grandma raised this little angel all the way up until she was 8 years old. Grandma was also trying to fight for custody, as well as her biological father also wanted custody, and other family members did too. They said they would take her, and yet the mom and those monsters in that house hid her in the basement, and she was no longer with us for over the last year. Her body was wherever they put it, decomposing. All right. I don't know if they put her in a freezer or a fridge or how they kept the body, but listen, they also told us that the decay and the decomposition from her body made the entire house smell so bad they had to leave. They did perform an autopsy, and their original findings on the autopsy were inconclusive because her body was so badly decomposed. So that her COD, we don't know at this time. However, we're going to assume that starvation plays a key role in this. All right. So let's go. I know this is an awful case.
Through the fall of 2024, which is when police believe she died. Now, the motive behind killing her, that may not be clear. But what we do know is that rather than report her death,
and
police
thank you,
say
Ice
they
Blue.
allege that Garcia instead kept her daughter's body hidden in the basement of that home. And in March of 2025, when the family moved to New Britain, investigators believe they brought the remains with them. So now months go by. No one sees this little girl. No one sees Jacqueline. No one reports her missing. Her paternal grandmother, Patricia Delgado, told NBC Connecticut in Spanish that she hadn't seen her granddaughter in months. And whenever she asked, she says she was always refused.
So the grandma was really trying to help and get custody. And yeah, they do look like mathematicians, right? They do. The mom only just looks like she took all the food that she was supposed to feed her, but something's not right with them, and I wouldn't put that past them. What's up under your scars? How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. No, we don't know of CSAM at this time. I speculate that there was CSAM as part of the abuse. All right, I wouldn't put it past. She's such a beautiful little angel. She was smaller in that picture. She was already 11, possibly 12 by the time she lost her life, or they took it, I should say.
Then came October 8th. At around midday, someone calls 911 to report some suspicious behavior, including a large plastic storage bin that is behind this abandoned property on Clark Street in New Britain. When officers arrive, they open the bin and they found human remains inside. And police would confirm that those remains belonged to Jacqueline. October 12th, police arrest Carla Garcia and her sister, so this is Jacqueline's aunt, Jacqueline Garcia, at a press conference. New Britain Mayor Aaron Stewart said this.
As a mother, this makes me sick to my stomach to be standing here today with what we're about to tell you. On Wednesday, October 8th, when a report of suspicious activity at 80 Clark Street in New Britain came in from an anonymous caller requesting police, responding officers had no idea what they would be walking into. This caller reported suspicious activity at a known abandoned house in their neighborhood. This house had been vacant for over 2 years, and it was owned and is owned by an out-of-state landlord from New York. None of those determined to be involved with this case have ever resided at this property. I want to thank the initial caller for speaking up.
Now, if you go back to the last episode, guys, we put the caller on the video. They were identified and they decided to talk. So that's episode 2. Episode 1 gets into a lot of the details and the questions that we originally asked. All right. So again, thank you guys for being here, supporting the channel. Hang out, hang in, get yourself something to drink, get a snack, chill out.
For having the courage to say something. Without that initial call, no one can say for certain where we would be at this point in time.
Police called this case heartbreaking and disturbing.
35 years, this is probably one of the worst cases that we've had to, I think the facts that you have, that she probably died a long time ago and was stowed away is probably enough to show you what we are dealing with here. So yes, very, very difficult on everybody handling these cases.
Now, at that point, investigators were still searching for Garcia's boyfriend, Jonathan Nanita. He was arrested on October 13th. Cameras captured him being led from the station, his face bruised, as officers placed him in a cruiser. Now, all 3 suspects appeared before a judge on October 14th. This was their first court appearance since the arrests. Jacqueline's mother, Carla Garcia.
All right, this gives you the names and who you guys. So again, we watched the entire court, the court streaming, I believe in episode 2. Mary Beth, good to see you. 130 likes, 179 in chat. That would be awesome if you hit that like button. I'll have a nice coffee. It's summer and 10 a.m. Well, you're in the future, Kai. You're in the future. In Australia, it's already tomorrow. I was going to say something about it's sort of premeditated in my eyes, had the opportunity to give the child to family, tortured her, stole the benefits. How is it not premeditated? Exactly. But they're not saying it's premeditated. The big charge is the murder charge. All right. So that charge is what is going to hold them in prison for as long as they can. So I don't understand either, but we'll get to understand it more as the documents are released. All right. I don't agree with it, but it's what they're charged with.
It was charged with murder with special circumstances, conspiracy to commit murder, improper disposal of a body, tampering with physical evidence, unlawful restraint, intentional cruelty to a child under 19, and risk of injury to a child. Her bond was set at $5 million. Her sister.
And guys, that is diabolical. You can call it a conspiracy or diabolical AF. This mom was already writing her speech that she was going to talk about on a podcast of her missing daughter. So every step of the way, she avoided them, and she did it methodically and diabolically. All right. The mother is gross. They're all gross. This aunt knew about what was happening to Jacqueline and did nothing. Instead, she took a picture of her zip tied with, starving to death and sent it to her mom. Again, this is like Shanda Vander Ark, where they're exchanging text messages and pictures and torturing the child.
Mr. Jacqueline was charged with intentional cruelty to a child under 19, risk of injury, first-degree unlawful restraint. Her bond was set at $1 million. And Anita is charged with murder with a special circumstance, conspiracy to commit murder, risk of injury to a child.
And they should add charges to him for faking his own death. That's what he did. We all thought that. We thought that. Psychopath, right? Man, they really should give him an extra charge for faking his own death, because he ended up stealing 2 cars within like the same hours, or I think the same day. We go back. He stole cars and got into accidents one after the other. That's allegedly how he got these bruises, and he scuffled with police a bit when they caught him. We saw that in the other episodes.
Unlawful restraint, intentional cruelty to a child. He's being held also on a $5 million bond. Now, obviously, this is a story that we want.
I know, right? How does it get worse?
Something like this is not only because of the amazing support that DCF's own records, newly unsealed police warrants, and family court files, and each one adds another layer to how all of this unfolded, how this tragedy unfolded. So to help us break all this down, I want to bring on a special guest. I'm joined by family law attorney Randy Kessler. Randy, thanks so much for coming back here on Sidebar. Really appreciate it.
Always great to be with you, Jesse.
All right, now here's the discussions on the charges and what and why it's happening. More explained. Wyatt, good to see you. Better late than never, right, guys? Right. All right, come on in. I don't know how it gets worse either, but I mean, look at these people. They look like anybody else that you pass by on the street. You can't tell that they're monsters.
How does a case like Jacqueline Mimi Torres Garcia's, how does this happen in a modern system? How could a 12-year-old, 11-year-old disappear for nearly a year with, I guess the question is, nobody noticing without detection?
Yeah, I'm so glad you're covering this story. Shine some light on it. Now,
Yes.
you know, these social workers and people that work for the Departments of Family and Children's Services across the country, they're always overworked, they're always underpaid, and things slip through the cracks, right? We don't think about it until we hear something like this, but we need to keep shining a light on this. It should have been caught. We as a government, we as a people.
Now, guys, it should have been caught, but I do have to say this is one of the most methodical cases that I've seen in a while between three grown adults taking care of her. Remember, she was like a hostage. She was captive in that basement. She was starving, they said, for at least 3 weeks while she was zip tied, and they just let her use the bathroom on pee-pad. So this was not just a like they did it and oh shit, they slid by with the law enforcement, they slid by in the video call. No, they purposely did this. They purposely put another little girl in place and covered up the video call and pretended like it was her. They also sent pictures of her that may have been her after she was already dead. All right, guys. So yeah, she took effing notes, consistency on her lies. Who else had the same notes? That's what she was gonna create an entire hoax. Another Sebastian Rogers, probably, and say, oh, my daughter has some mental problems. She has ADD, whatever. What was she going to say? All right, need a tattoo on the forehead. All right. And I'm so glad that you guys are here. Thank you for being here. Hit the like button if you forgot to. Rife is an R. Now, this is Matt Rife. This is a comedian. All right. His name's Rife. Matt Rife. He's a very, very funny comedian that we went and saw this weekend. He had a show on Sunday.
Well, we as a civilization need to protect the most innocent. That's the term in Latin, parens patriae. The state acts as pseudo-parents to take care of children. And this one fell through the cracks. There were warning signs everywhere. Somebody should have caught it.
Well, more specifically, legally, what do agencies like the Department of Children and Families, DCF, what do they play in protecting children?
Right?
What are their
hilarious.
limitations? Where do the systems fail?
So there are a lot of times when I say they have no limitations, and they should have more limitations because they are enormously powerful. It's very hard if you're a legislator in a state to vote against giving child protective services all the power they need, right? Their job is to protect children. So there are a lot of laws on the books that let them go in. You know, if I'm trying to get custody for my client, I have to file a lawsuit, you know, I have to go to court, I have to get an order. They have administrative powers where they can go right in on suspicion and say, first things first, let's protect the children, then we'll investigate and figure it out. There are a lot of good laws on the books. So it's not a matter likely of the law being there for them to use. It's a matter of them having the time to research it and figure out which case should we use this law on. This is one, they should have used all the powers. I cannot imagine they didn't have the power to go in and protect this child before this tragedy happened.
And I gotta say, on their part, guys, they definitely failed with the father trying to get custody of his, not only his one daughter, but two daughters, grandma and biological dad, as well as other family members that said they didn't get to see her for 2 years. Yes, while they tortured her. All right. All right, let's keep going. I don't know. Mark Vieira kind of person. I'll have to look up that person. Matt Rife is a very popular YouTuber. He's on YouTube quite a bit, but he's a comedian, and I found him on YouTube.
This aspect of custody battles, right? How common is it for family disputes, custody battles, where it escalates to the point that a child is at risk? Obviously, children are affected, but where a child is at risk, that there are warning signs for attorneys or judges.
So listen, I'm going to assume that, well, I know this is little Jacqueline, they call her Mimi, but I'm going to assume that is her younger sister that's in the household. That was the other child in the household. And it looks like they're doing her 5th birthday. So maybe they're, 3-4 years apart. same biological father that was trying to gain custody of Mimi.
Judges to look for. I mean, again, as we're still trying to piece together what's going on
I
here.
know.
Oh my God, I wish I had 3 days to answer that question, Jesse. One problem is that the judges are overwhelmed. Across the country,
Just
family court
evil.
judges or judges that handle these kind of cases get 800, 900, 1,000 cases a year to resolve. And so when you're thinking about a case as a judge, you're also thinking, I got 12 more I got to get to today. It's hard to dig into the background. The other thing is, we have some priorities, right? There's an echelon of priorities. Parents come first. Next would be step parents, grandparents. So grandma had custody. And then when they got to court and mom came forward and said, I want to have custody because she's the mom, the blood relative, the bio mom, she trumped grandma, even though grandma had been the main person in the child's life. And the court awarded mom custody because that's the general thing to do. That's the general hierarchy.
Well, look, now think about this. And we talked about this on episode 1. All right. We talked about episode 1. This literally could have been, if they had not found her body, this would have been another case like Kai is discussing. Similar case, the body isn't found. How many times mom won't talk? How many times has that happened again and again? All right. So think about that. How many times that's happened? How many hoaxes do we have right now that are unsolved? All right. Sherlock Homegirl says, I'm a registered nurse and caseload cannot affect your moral or your values. I agree.
Digging a little deeper, spending a little more time on it. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. There was not enough sunlight shed on this case and on this situation.
How do schools, medical providers, neighbors, are there ways to better spot signs of abuse, signs of neglect in cases where a child, is maybe withdrawn from school, isolated at home? I know hindsight is 2020, but are there ways what they should be looking out for?
Yeah, and again, we're talking about layers. It's, be a good neighbor. Yes, report things if you see it. Schools have duties, they have obligations, and most importantly, they have opportunity. They see things. Counselors see things. There's a thing called a mandatory reporter. Some institutions, psychologists, for example, or schools or teachers are mandated reporters. If they're aware of abuse, they're required to report it. But then there's this pendulum of, well, if they over-report and they keep reporting parents because a child.
I wonder what role the aunt played in this. I mean, just think about this. Were they collecting money specifically from her, and then the mom was, using that money to feed them or pay for their apartment or whatever? I mean, what reason would that aunt do that? Just like the Manuel Haro case, except they have her body, but they might not have had it had somebody not spotted it in that backyard right away. They might have moved that body and we would have never found it. Think about that.
Breaks their arm and they say maybe the dad did something bad to the child and then the school was wrong. Then the parents might sue the child and they're being wrongly accused. So there's this balance of protecting a child versus falsely accusing somebody of this horrible thing. As far as I'm concerned, we protect children. We worry about the secondary victim second. First things first. So schools have to be more alert. Don't be afraid. You see something, say something. It's the only way less children are going to be harmed or killed like this one.
I want to start getting into this. And I want to start with this reportedly deceiving DCF video call that was placed.
All right, so here's the topic of today, guys. Jacqueline Torres' mom tried to cover up her death in a video call with DCF. All right, that's what I wanted to bring to you today. The deception, the letter that she wrote on her phone to a podcaster. She was getting ready to go on a podcast and talk about her daughter that went missing, and she's a grieving mother, and her daughter ran away, and she just doesn't know what to do. That's what she was talking about. All right, Mama Sage, you absolutely never got timed out. I don't think we've ever timed you out. Hi, Em. Good to see you, my friend. No, we can see you. I just don't allow certain words in my chat, so sometimes you won't be able to, put cuss words, etc. You're in Seattle. What's up? You're in the United States. Callie, I'm the bounty hunter. Wait until you guys see my Halloween costume. Hint, hint. All right, let's keep going.
The Connecticut Department of Children and Family, DCF, now says that in January of 2025, it conducted this video call with someone that the mother claimed was Jacqueline Mimi Torres-Garcia. So this is months after investigators believe Mimi had already died. And according to DCF's newly released timeline, Their last prior involvement with the family had been in September of 2022. Now, this was a separate investigation into Jacqueline's younger siblings, because at that time, Jacqueline and her siblings were determined to be safe, visible in the community. And then you fast forward to August of 2024, where Carla Garcia submitted notice to withdraw Jacqueline from public school, indicated the family was moving to Farmington, intended to homeschool her. School records show the withdrawal date is August 26, 2024. But then in January of 2025, DCF reopened contact due to alleged concerns involving Jacqueline's younger sibling. And during that investigation, Garcia had told DCF caseworker, and during that investigation, Garcia told DCF caseworkers that Jacqueline was being homeschooled, was temporarily out of state with a relative. And DCF says they asked to speak with Jacqueline directly, right, to make sure everything was okay. And in response, the family arranged this video call, produced a child who appeared on camera, presented as Jacqueline, and because
doesn't that remind you of Lori Vallow? And maybe because someone brought that up earlier. Remember, Lori Vallow needed to produce her children, JJ and Tylee, and she asked her friend Melanie to take random pictures, to go to the Frozen movie and take random pictures of children running by so that law enforcement would have a proof of life for her children. Now, if you're going to bring up the Lori Vallow case, guys, I know that one all too well. Never, ever, ever have I said Lori Vallow is innocent. Let me just put that clearly on the record. But the Lori Vallow case does fascinate me, and it is a good it's a good example of cases where you could think of a parent dodging law enforcement the way that she did so publicly. If you guys know the Vallow case, you remember Nate Eaton went all the way to Hawaii and said, "Where are the children?" All right, and those children were in Chad Daybell's backyard the entire time. Willow's True Crime. Jay, I live north of Seattle, but next month I'll be in Sacramento. Then early December, I'll be back for about 12 hours. Well, hello, and shout out to you. I'm far from Sac, but I hope you have fun there. What do you got going on? I know, Mom. I know. These people are evil, and you can't tell. They don't look like monsters.
No further concerns were flagged, DCF closed its involvement with the case in March of 2025. Randy, that is quite the allegation here, that someone was posing as that child. If that's true, have you ever heard anything like that before?
I think I've heard it all, and I'm starting to think, expect the unexpected in family law. And it's just, I've heard worse. I've heard people falsifying DNA tests to prove their child is not her own child, a mother that didn't want someone to have custody. So they've, instead of falsifying it to claim that a rich athlete is the father of their child, I've seen opposite. So I've seen a lot of that. But, you got to dig deeper. I mean, there's so many warning signs, and a lot of them seem small. The neighbors that smelled some foul odor in the building, and the child's going to be homeschooled, and the dad who's not seeing someone's got to piece it all together. The problem.
That's true. But could you imagine going to law enforcement and saying that, and then something? Well, actually, it's better. It's better. Go do it. Say it. If you see something, say something, do something. It's better to look like a fool and say, okay, I just wanted to check on the child, than what happened here. All right. Kai says, yes, I remember that case. Wasn't her ex-husband where the fire pit was too? No, not her ex-husband. That was a different, she took her husband's life in Arizona, which recently she had to go back on trial in Arizona. So that case is wild. That case is like just a web of, what a tangled web we weave.
As we think, and hindsight's 2020, that somebody is monitoring this case, piecing together the facts, figuring out what's going on. And really, it's a bunch of paperwork that comes across the desk, and they say, let's just make a call. We'll do a video call. We'll check it out. It looks normal to me. We got worse cases where there's blood and guts and police reports and violence and recordings. Let's move on to the next case. This one didn't have the overt evidence. This was maybe something going on. All right, let's satisfy our concerns. They saw a video. Don't fault the FCS or whatever the name of it is in that state. But gosh, this is just terrible.
But it actually is a fault of DCF because, I mean, really? One video call in over a year satisfied them? What about homeschool? Oh, wait, Connecticut doesn't have a homeschool law. You can pull your child out of school, and they never follow up.
Conspiracy.
That's not good.
Alarm bells go off to me when you're taking a child and you're going to homeschool the child, and you don't want the father to see the child.
I know.
But again, who leaps to the conclusion that a child's been murdered? It's just no one wants to think that. No one wants to believe that.
What about the gap? So DCF hadn't been involved since September of 2022. They reopened contact in January of 2025. Is that typical for child welfare cases, monitoring, things like that?
Yeah, I don't think they were monitoring the case. I think they figured it was all said and done. Nothing was going on anymore. So there's no reason to stay involved. It was not a foster parent situation. This was the real mom with the child. There's so many other kooky things, Jesse. Dad's paying, not dad, the dad of the new children is paying child support, but then she's having more children with that dad. If you piece all these little pieces together.
And there you go. You piece all little pieces. So she was collecting child support from the father. She was probably also collecting some sort of food stamps and welfare. And I believe they mentioned Section 8 somewhere. So, I mean, I hope they add the charges on top of that for the fraud and the year or over a year of collecting money. Again, that's just a small thing compared to what she did to that little girl right there.
In hindsight, it does look like, why wasn't somebody paying attention? But I think what happened in 2022, they looked at it, cleared her, and said there's no other need to get involved. And then when something else arose, they got back involved. I wish they'd been monitoring it the whole time.
If a parent intentionally deceives child welfare authorities, not, whether it's putting a different child on camera, whatever have you, talk about the DNA results, what are the legal consequences?
Well, there's perjury, there's all sorts of hiding evidence, and concealing a crime. There are a lot of legal consequences, but again, they're going to pale in comparison to the actual crime if there's murder. But if you're not doing anything wrong except lying to DFCS or the Child Protective Services in your state, yes, you're going to be in trouble. You're lying to a government authority. You're going to be asked to state things under oath, so you're committing perjury. The problem, again, is those organizations are going after people who have harmed children, not people who have lied to them. They're more interested in protecting children than liars who are just lying because they're afraid they're going to be found to have done something else wrong, written a bad check, got parking violations. So people.
And I'm going to go a little bit further in here, but they usually also, you got to remember, they usually side with the mother, especially when it's a female or a mother and a daughter, just like Madeline Soto, guys. Even Tyler Wallace, her biological father, would have stepped in. They wouldn't have gave Tyler full custody over Jen Soto because she was the mom, the biological mom. I'll keep that up for a minute. You're right, Emily Jane. All right, while we're stopped, anybody else that came in, hit that like button. All right, get yourself a membership, gift one, add to our goal. Thank you. All right, let's go a little bit further.
They were receiving medical care. They provided in-home support and housing assistance, and the case was closed in November of 2022. There was no findings of abuse or neglect. From November of 2022 to fall of 2024, DCF really had no further contact with the family. During that period, Jacqueline continued to attend school. As I said, and during that period, Jacqueline continued to attend school, received routine medical care. She wasn't homeschooled. Carla Garcia was granted sole custody in June of 2024. A court process in which, by the way, DCF played no role, but
damn, guys. So she got custody in 2024, and we've gone over the timeline, but just listening to it now, she got custody of Jacqueline in 2024, and shortly after getting custody, they took her life. They starved her. They abused her. They had her wherever they were holding her in the basement. Right after that. So then at that point, she was moving around place to place and probably using one of her other children for the video calls. I'm going to imagine that. All right. Yes. On one of the news reports, they gave out the children's date of birth and this one. So she had another child. Wow. I didn't know that.
Andy, is that a typical back and forth like you see? I mean, it seems to me the goal of the state is to have reunification with the biological parents.
Yes. I mean, it seems like they did their job, right? It's hard to say that when you see what the consequences are. I mean, maybe there should be random check-ins. Maybe there should have been a plan. Like we have reunification plans when a parent hasn't seen a child for a while and have got to jump through some hoops. In this case, I just keep thinking, how much smoke do you need before you're convinced there's a fire? There's so much going on that, can you have a tentative or conditional assignment of custody? We don't do that. Someone gets custody of their child, we leave them alone. If the court decides they should have custody, like in this case, then we presume the court did right and we let them have custody until they screw up and we learn of it. But in this case, when Child Protective Services was involved, maybe there should be some annual check-in, sort of like a.
I don't even think maybe there should be. There absolutely should be, especially when you don't have custody for the child's entire life, and then you just get them back, and then you've got the dad trying to get custody. However, he did miss 3 appointments, guys. He missed 3 court hearings, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm sure he's kicking himself hard. And the last proof of life pictures that Jacqueline has are from her 5th grade graduation. She was supposed to be and make it to 6th grade, and right when she got into 6th grade, the mom pulled her out on homeschool. All right, so absolutely there should be checkups. All right.
Probation period. Maybe that's something the court could have ordered. You know, hindsight again is 2020, but from the protective services group's perspective, they did what they were supposed to do.
There was nothing more for them to do. There's nothing more
on their
to
radar.
Challenge it. There's nothing more to challenge custody.
Right. No, I don't think there was.
There's something else I want to talk about that just developed. These newly unsealed search warrants, because they're shedding light on the alleged chilling abuse that led up to Jacqueline's death. Okay, so investigators say that Carla Garcia admitted to police that she stopped feeding her daughter in the weeks before she died. That is a horrifying confession, and it confirmed.
And I'm glad she confessed, but I wonder if that's just a self-serving confession that her lawyer said, hey, if we plead this way, if you say this happened this way, then you're going to stick to those 2nd degree because you didn't mean to do it. You were abusing her, and in the middle of abuse, her life was taken, versus they did that on purpose to take her life, right? So I mean, I don't know. We're going to keep following this case all the way through, obviously.
Months of neglect and abuse, if true. According to the warrants reviewed by the Stanford advocate, Garcia and Anita restrained Jacqueline using zip ties. They did this whenever she, quote, acted badly. Garcia's sister, Jacqueline, told detectives that she had witnessed the abuse firsthand, even telling authorities she, quote, knew the girl was going to die. She described seeing this little girl tied up, confined to a corner, forced to lie on pee pads on the.
Again, trigger warning, guys. I can't even imagine what he's saying that happened to her. And we don't want to, right? We don't want to sit with that. All right, let's keep going. Wow. I mean, these pictures here are her so much younger. Remember, she was 11 and possibly she turned 12, but we don't have a proof of life after her 11th birthday.
Floor. So she wasn't able to move freely or escape this abuse. And the documents also reveal a strange and disturbing detail that Garcia reportedly began taking notes for a podcast that she planned to record about what happened to her daughter.
So
now,
cute.
Randy, Garcia's sister, reportedly witnessed this abuse, claimed she knew the child was going to die. She's facing her own kind of legal consequences here. What do you take away from these new allegations?
Well, shame on her for not doing more, right? We're all, we don't just get along in society and just live independently. We have a duty to do good for others, especially for family, especially for children. Yeah, she's going to face some consequences as well. If she was aware of it, didn't report it, didn't help that child, and she's going to face consequences maybe in the afterlife. Who knows?
Now, listen, here is the actual update from this last week. Although they don't have a specific cause of death, the autopsy that was performed, you guys, revealed that there were no signs of recent trauma or injuries to her body that would have contributed to the COD. However, the doctor said that she appeared to be malnourished. So that's why I believe they're being charged with 2nd degree, because of the abuse that caused her ultimate demise is not showing that it was like blunt force trauma to her head, asphyxiation, strangulation. It was malnourishment over a period of time where her life was then taken. All right. This is their turn. Is it really? I don't know. I don't watch that one. All right, let's keep going.
What kind of consequences she's going to face. But, it's just crazy that nobody else
I don't know.
knew this and nobody else saw this. I understand the neighbors, maybe it was post-mortem that they smelled the smells of the deceased body. But, how can we fix these things? And I think it's just shedding sunlight on it. There are situations like this. If you're watching this, it could be your neighbor. It could be someone across the street. It's not confined to poor people or rich people or people of a certain culture. Just, these things happen.
Right.
It's unfortunate. It's horrible. let's not let another one happen. But yes,
Right.
those allegations,
Come on,
I
we're
cannot
getting
believe
there.
it didn't come to light before she was killed.
Is it evidence of premeditation? Is it evidence of consciousness of guilt? You know, if this is you're stop feeding the girl who succumbs. I mean, what do you take away from that?
And why would they have done that? I mean, why did they? What would make them even do that other than they didn't? Her mom really didn't like her at all. In my opinion, she only had her for one reason. What constitute as her being bad? I wonder that.
I
What
mean,
does that
premeditation,
even mean?
it's a whole pattern, it's similar conduct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's murder, and it just shows it's sort of an aggravating circumstance, especially because the victim was a minor. It's going to heighten the charge. It's going to make it a more serious case than it's simple murder, if there is such a thing. But yeah, all those factors go into it. And of course, when you're in front of a jury, the less the jury likes you, the harder it is to get any kind of relief. So this lady is not going to do well in front of a jury. I cannot.
I think they're going to take a deal, guys. All right, let's keep going. I don't think we're going to make it to a jury. All right, I really don't. And I have a quick little video of actual Jacqueline moving around, dancing with a sister. I'm going to play that after I uploaded it to my members only, and I'll play it for you.
They no longer had any rights to take or even see the child. And Delgado also said that after Garcia regained custody, she restricted family access, refusing to let relatives see or speak with this little girl. And in addition to disputes with her grandmother, Garcia also faced conflicts with Jacqueline's father, Victor. In 2023, Torres took Garcia to court, alleging that she wasn't honoring their joint custody arrangement. He wrote, "I want to see my children weekend like agreed when given joint custody, or any day for that matter." Now, Randy, you're seeing these disputes. Is it true that a grandparent really doesn't have rights?
Yeah, it
as
is
we might
very
think?
true. Yeah.
Welcome to my world. I'm going to meet with somebody later today about a grandparents' rights case. Like I was saying earlier, natural parents have the first, right to raise their children. And, if you ask me, I'd say if you look at it neutrally, grandparents are probably better to raise children than parents in some situations.
And I'm not sure why they do that, but I do know that their number one goal is to keep the children with the biological parent. And I'm going to imagine, guys, that it has something to do with money, right? Everything seems to have something to do with money nowadays. I mean, that seems to be the motivator. I would imagine that if they have her with any child is with the biological parent, they don't have to spend that money to do the welfare checks, to check up on the parents, to give aid. I mean, grandparents, to give aid. It's just easier. Hey, give them back to the parent, biological. What could go wrong? And now we know what can go wrong because every day we cover a case just like this. And also, state to state, these laws change. And so it's hard to say we need to make a law where everybody checks in. That's nice to do, but what about, this is in Connecticut? What about Colorado? What about Utah? What about all the other states? All right, let's keep going. Such a pretty little girl, man.
To some degree, and fought back and sued for custody. And then when she got custody, she was so angry, she said, "I'm not going to let you visit. I'm going to sue for sole custody." So human emotions are so important in family law. The best thing to do is do everything you can to make peace with the other relatives, with the mother of the child. But yes, unfortunately, the court either didn't dig deep enough or didn't have enough evidence to say, despite the fact that you're the natural mom, this child has now become acclimated to grandma, has been raised well by grandma, and we're going to leave grandma in the picture. We're going to grandma some visitation rights. I mean, there's always this back and forth. Does a mom have the right to say this child doesn't get to visit grandma or grandpa? Right now, in most states, the law is yes, absent some extreme circumstances, mental illness, or something really bizarre. And then you can imagine, Jesse, when a court says to a mom or a dad, you're going to have to let your in-laws have time. Well, that's a piece of paper. It doesn't sit very well.
True. What about Tiffany Lucas? Were you guys here for the Tiffany Lucas case that I covered, where all the family would have taken those little boys, the auntie would have taken little boys, but instead Tiffany Lucas decided to get a GUN and take her children's lives? Do you remember the Tiffany Lucas case? We did the body cam. All right, grandma's so young, full of energy, and she had custody all the way up until Jacqueline was 8 years old in this case, guys.
Most parents to be ordered to do something. If we try always to do that out of court, mediate it, find peace, find whether it's money or improving the life or finding a nice environment where they can all be together that's peaceful, and even mom benefits because they all take a family trip to somewhere mom wanted to go. I mean, you got to think outside the box in these situations because the law is pretty clear. Natural parents have the right to raise their children, and grandparents shouldn't interfere. They should just say, please, may I see my grandchildren? That's the default. In this case, the default didn't work.
One more thing that I want to talk about with you before we go, because what happened to Jacqueline isn't just breaking hearts across Connecticut. It is also sparking calls for change. According to the Connecticut Post, a Bridgeport father named Lois Fidel has launched an online petition calling for what he has dubbed Mimi's Law. So this proposed legislation would tighten the oversight.
So we got to get a link to that, guys. We got to post the Mimi's Law. They've got over 14,000 signatures as of today. I think I dropped a link before, but let me look for it.
Of homeschooled children to ensure that, as Fidel puts it, no child disappears unnoticed again. And Fidel wrote that the system failed Jacqueline because no one outside her home was regularly checking on her well-being. His petition, which has had more than 12,000 signatures as of the time of this recording, it calls for a sweeping set of reforms, mandatory in-person welfare checks for homeschooled children, and accountability requirements for DCF, especially when repeated reports go uninvestigated, body cameras for child welfare caseworkers, restrictions on where convicted child abusers can live, noting that Jacqueline's aunt, Jacqueline Garcia, who's now charged with child cruelty, had a prior conviction for risk of injury to a minor. And regarding that aunt, by the way, we're now learning more about that prior case. According to NBC Connecticut, Garcia was arrested in 2023 after bringing her 11-month-old daughter to Connecticut Children's Hospital, reporting an issue with the baby's leg. An investigator said the child was found with multiple bruises and fractures at different stages of healing.
And all of them had some kind of criminal history, including the aunt, which also had child abuse on her case, just like the Turpin children, just like Tiffany Lucas. All right, I do have the link to the petition for Mimi's Law. It's really long, so I'll show it after this. I don't know if it's going to work in chat.
An arrest warrant that was reviewed by the outlet revealed that Garcia had initially claimed the baby had fallen, but there was no record of any pediatrician being contacted, despite the statements to police. Court records show Garcia was convicted of risk of injury to a child, sentenced to 10 years in prison, suspended after 18 months, followed by 5 years of probation. So, Randy, what do you think of Mimi's Law? You think this is something that's that would really have legs and is important and is necessary right now?
Absolutely.
I think it's a great idea. I think there should be a law like that in every state. Funding, right? All comes down to funding because, again, the laws are on the books. There are already good laws there.
Funding.
You know, the nice thing about this push is not only that it might create legislation and better laws, but it's making people aware that these situations exist. And again, if you're working for Child Protective Services, you're going to say monthly checkups on people that we've investigated years ago. I got somebody right now who's got a police report pending that I've got to go out and visit them. How do I have time to do a monthly checkup? They're just, you know, people don't spend time realizing how much money this stuff takes and how broad it is until Jesse shows us on his show and talks about it and gives some, you know, some coverage to it. Now,
well, we talk about this every day, so we do know. All right, we do know. And welcome in to the people that are just rolling in. How you doing? Good to see you. Prayers for those that that need them. Let's get into the petition real quick, and then I'm going to show you some videos of little Jacqueline, what she looked like, how she interacted. All right, Crafty Chris says, when my bonus son passed, his wife never let me see his two boys again. 23 months and 1 month. She had someone in Florida adopt them. She won't even let them see their and that happens all too often. I'm sorry that happened to you, Crafty Chris. It happens so often. All right, Judy Smith. Hey, Jane, guilty of crime. I love catching your live streams. Thank you. All right. Homeschool children need to be watched and protected. All right, we did drop the link. Thank you, Tiff, for dropping a link to Mimi's Law. Emily just signed it. Angel just signed it. And let me just show you what it looks like quickly, and then I'll share a video, and then we'll be gone. We will be out of here. All right, so take a look. That is demand accountability and create Mimi's Law. Now, these petitions, petition change.org, they're always pretty much the same, change.org, and then you type in Jacqueline Torres and it will come up, or change.org, Jennifer Soto, that will come up to arrest Jen Soto. How seriously did they take this? I don't know. However, we're at 14,850 verified signatures, demand accountability, and create Mimi's Law. Again, it's not just for her, and we know the issue, right? We know the issue. It's not for her, it's for all future children that may be homeschooled, maybe in a legal custody, and they need somebody to check on them. All right. So that's it. I hope you guys signed that. I hope you have the link. Let's take a look at this quick little cute little video of Jacqueline. And I don't know if that's her sister, but Tiff found this, and thank you. I don't know if there's music on it. Tiff, is there music? What's the deal? All right. Well, I'm kind of glad there's no music. There's no volume at all, huh? Great, though. Let me go back a little because I want you to see where she looks like she's a little bit older there. I haven't seen many pictures of her past a certain age. Oh, so there she is right there. I bet you that was closer to where we did not see her. All right. All right, there you have it. I just wanted you guys to be able to see how she moves, how she looks. So cute. And that's good. That's okay. I'm glad you took the sound out. Aww. And then after a certain time, nobody saw her again. Aww. All right, and that we appreciate that, Tiff, for finding that video. We've got one more that's really quick. Let me find that, and I'll throw it up there. It's on members only. I just put it up there so you guys can see it, and I can play the video. Hold on. Let's take a look at this one. It's nice to be able to see these children in action, right? Sometimes we never get to see that because they've been gone for a certain amount of time and nobody has videos or whatever. So here we go. Let's see. Let's see what this one has. She was kept clean. I know, she was so cute and sweet. I think those were probably pictures from Grandma. Grandma raised her for quite some time. All right. So there's that. Beautiful little angels. May Mimi rest in peace, guys. All right. I could probably watch that again and again, but we're going to pull that down. And justice for Mimi, Jacqueline Torres. All right, guys. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. I appreciate you. This is episode 3 of 3. We may have more as this moves forward. There's a possibility that this may not go to trial. They may just take a plea deal. Now, Shadow, the grandma did not lose custody. However, in contrast to her losing custody, Jacqueline fought to get her daughter back. Jacqueline Torres' mom fought to get Mimi back. All right. Her grandma had her for 8 years. And what do you think her mom wanted her for? Money to hold over the father, the biological. All right. So it would have been all good. The grandma would have kept her, no problem. But what the legal system does, they favor the mom over anybody else, and they favor the biological parent. So that's what happened there. No fault of the grandparent. However, I gotta say the father probably is wishing that he made it to those court appointments. He was fighting for partial custody, and he missed the court appointments 3 times. All right. So I don't know what happened there, but I know he's now a grieving father that probably wishes that never happened. So thank you guys. Yeah, benefits. Thank you guys. Much love. Good night, everybody. Jay, much love to you, girl, from our home here. Yes, much love to all of you. Mama Sage, Michelle, you guys are talking about tamales now. Who's going to make the tamales? Michelle says tamales for everyone. Where are they? Where's the subs? All right. Rest in peace, Mimi. You guys, much love to you. I will see you tomorrow. I'm sorry, I won't see you tomorrow. I'll be back. You guys find something to do tomorrow. I will be back on Thursday to go over whatever cases we need to cover. Much love, big hugs, and I'll talk to you and see y'all soon. Mwah. Thank you, and have a wonderful night.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?